Hello everybody, my name is Preethy Joseph. I am the P7 tutor with Phoenix Financial Training. This is the video for P7 exam tips for June 2017. The exam is actually broken down into two sections. You have section A as well as you have section B. Section A, there are two compulsory questions. Question 1, which is worth 35 marks, and question 2, which is worth 25 marks. The total time for this exam is technically 3 hours and 15 minutes. Within that time, for question 1, you should allocate 10 minutes for planning the answer, and you need another 55 minutes to write down the answer. Try to stay within the time that I've mentioned, because P7 is a paper which is very time pressured and it may lead you to exceeding. If you have practice questions under time, you will understand what I'm trying to tell you. It is definitely, especially question 1, it takes a lot of your time. So please stick to the time. As I said before, you need 10 minutes for planning and you need to take 55 minutes to write the answer. Under question number 1, the topics that can come would be business risks. 1, they can either ask you audit risk, or they can ask you financial statement risk, or they can call this as the risk of material misstatements on the financial statements. If the question is asking revolving around audit risk, you can look at all the 3 risks, that is your inherent risk, your control risk, and your detection risk. But if the question is only asking you about risk of material misstatement or the financial statements risk, then you need to only focus on just looking for control risk and inherent risk. Even if there are situations of detection risk in the question, please kindly ignore them. So the first kind of question, as I mentioned, would be business risk. The second would be around audit risks. The third would be something revolving around additional informations that you will want to obtain from the scenario. Additional informations are informations that are not provided for you in the question. Other than those informations that are there in the scenario, what are the other informations that you will want to have access to, which will enable your understanding of that particular client? So the fourth question that can come would be revolving around your audit procedures. Maximum, there'll be around, let's say, 2 to 3 account balances that they will test you. Like, for example, they may test you on valuations on a particular intangible asset, for example. They may ask you for measurement of share-based payments, for example. So each of these account balance maximum marks they can ask you to create audit procedures will be revolving around 4 to 5 marks. That is predominantly your question 1 that we're talking about. So question 1 is worth 35 marks. In that 35 marks, there is 4 marks professional marks that they will always ask you. The professional marks is only in question number 1. Under the professional marks, mainly what they're looking for is the briefing notes format. If the question is asking briefing note, most of the time, predominantly it will be revolving around briefing notes. The briefing notes structure is something that you need to know. First thing you need to write is to, from, date, subject. For that much, you'll get 1 mark. To give an introduction as well as a conclusion, we'll give another 1 mark. Then to give subheadings, under each of the parts of the requirements of the question, we'll give you another 1 mark. And the last mark is technically for your logical flow that we're talking about, in terms of the language, the clarity of your explanations, etc. So that is a breakdown of your 4 marks. Try to always grab those 4 marks. Don't lose it unnecessarily, especially when you're coming. So you may start off well, but you may forget to put in a conclusion. So if you're running out of time, make sure you leave space at the end, write a conclusion, and move on to the next question. Then coming to question number 2. Question number 2 is worth 25 marks of your paper. That you need totally 45 minutes to do this question. On the 45 minutes, take 5 minutes for planning the question, and take the remaining 40 minutes to write the answers. In this, there are 2 types of questions that can be asked depending on what the examiner wants to test you on. They can either ask you matters to be considered at a completion stage of the audit, where they will test you on audit evidences rather than audit procedures. And the second kind of question would be revolving around non-audit assurance assignments. So your non-audit assignments would be like to do with PFI, that's prospective financial informations. You can have forensic investigations, you can have social and environmental informations, and you can have due diligence. Mostly, there's a very high chance that either prospective financial informations can be tested, or as due diligence can be tested. There's a very, very high chance that either of these 2 can be tested as either question number 2 or else it will be an option question in your section B of the paper. It depends on what gets tested in question 2. The other question will be tested in section B as question number 3 for you guys. So moving on to now section B of the paper. Section B is again broken down to 3 questions. Out of 3 questions, you need to choose 2 questions. Each of the questions is worth 20 marks, and the total time that you need to take is around 40 minutes to do the question. In that 40 minutes, 5 minutes should be allocated for planning the answer, and the remaining 35 minutes you should take to actually write down the answer. Going into the details of each of the question, question 3 would be the other option that you have given in question 2. So if question 2 was a non-assurance assignment, then question number 3 would be matters to be considered at the completion stage, where they will ask you audit evidences, or else it can be vice versa. Then question number 4 would be revolving around ethics, quality control, and practice management. That is something which is very important, which you need to focus on. That's like a guaranteed sure short question that can come for you in the exam as question number 4. Whereas question number 5 would be revolving around audit reports, and some here and there a bit on current issues. So you should be comfortable with the format of the audit report in terms of how do you form an opinion. Along with make sure you go recap on CAM, that is your key audit matters, because it's a recent development to your audit reports. So the examiner, is a very high chance that the examiner can talk something revolving around key audit matters. So that is technically the whole structure of the P7 exam. Please make sure you don't do selective studying. Make sure you do recap on all these areas, because the examiner tends to cover the whole audit in totality in their paper. Because question 1 will be revolving around the planning stage of the audit along with audit procedures, whereas question 2 or 3 can be matters to be considered at the completion stage, and then question number 5 is revolving around audit reports at the completion stage. So the examiner ensures that she tests technically every single thing throughout all the stages of the audit that we're talking about. So please ensure you do ample practice of your questions. If you want an extra information about key audit matters, which is revolving around question number 5, there is a technical article which is available on the ACCA website. Please make sure you go have a read on it, which gives you a better understanding of what is those changes that has come about on the audit report and what is a key audit matter as well. As we were discussing, there are 2 sections in the paper. You have section A and section B. What you need to start attempting first is definitely section B of the paper rather than section A, because section A takes up a lot of your time. So please start with section B, go to section B first. From those 3 questions, choose any 2 of your questions which you think you will definitely want to attempt it. Attempt those 2 questions and then come back to section A of the paper and then attempt section A. Now between question 1 and question 2, that's up to you depending on which you think is comfortable. Ideally speaking, I would want you to do question 2 and then go and do question 1, because question 1 with experience, it takes a lot of your time. So I don't want you guys to take the first 2 hours, just doing question 1 of the paper. At least if you start off with section B of the paper, you do those questions in a good speed, you're at least guaranteed you have those 40 marks in your pocket. And then you're going on and moving on to attempting the remaining 60 marks of the paper. If you start off with section A and if you just do question 1 and you take 20, let's say 2 hours just doing that question, you're only aiming for getting 35 marks of the paper. So please keep in mind of the time management. Focus on doing section B first and then move on to do section A of the paper. In section A, first do question 2 and then move on to question 1 of the paper. I hope this video has been valuable to your learning in your last few days before your exam. All the very, very best for your exam, and have a lovely evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.